Hey guys, again, my name's Adam, and I'm the worship pastor here at Life Change. Today I want to bring you guys a devotion that's a little bit ironic for me to talk about, mainly because it is something that I struggle with personally. Today I want to talk about the wait and waiting, and so I want to begin by going to Psalms 40, verses 1 through 5. And this is a psalm of David, and it says, "I waited patiently for the Lord. He turned to me and heard my cry. He lifted me out of the slimy pit, out of the mud and mire. He set my feet on a rock and gave me a firm place to stand. He put a new song in my mouth, a hymn of praise to our God. Many will see and fear the Lord and put their trust in him. Blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord, who does not look to the proud, to those who turn aside to false gods. Many, Lord my God, are the wonders you have done, the things you planned for us. None can compare with you. Were I to speak and tell of your deeds, they would be too many to declare." Most translations of verse 1 begin by saying, "I waited patiently." But I did some study and found that the literal Hebrew text says, "I waited. And in Hebrew, the doubling of a term conveys intensification and importance to that term. So we can see here that God's servants waited deliberately, with high concentration and with focus, and everything that they did in the wait was intentional. We can also see that in Psalms 30 and 39, which are leading up to chapter 40 that I just read, that the servants are not just waiting, sitting there twiddling their thumbs, but they are keeping busy in service to God and to others, all in full acceptance of his wisdom and his timing. And because of this, we see in verse 3, the waiting leads to a new song of praise to God. And in verse 4, we see that the waiting leads to abundant joy from God. So from just these 4 verses in the book of Psalm, we see that waiting has rewards and benefits from God. So now I want to bring us to the book of Job. And Job was one of the most wealthy, blessed men in all of Scripture. Job was a true man of God. In fact, in verse 1, it says that Job was blameless and upright. He feared God and shunned evil. So knowing this, Satan challenged God by saying, Job is only righteous because God has favored him generously. So God takes this, and he actually allows the devil to destroy everything that Job owned. Job lost all of his crops, his cattle, his servants, and above all, Job lost every single one of his children. However, the cool thing here is that Job did not blame God. He accepted that God had a plan, and he decided that he would sit in the wait for God until he revealed what that plan was. So later in the story, we find that Job's 3 friends come to counsel him, trying to discover what great sin he had committed to make him deserve all this. But Job did not admit to any sin, and instead, he knew that sometimes bad things happen to good people. Later, to make matters worse, God tests Job yet again by giving him terrible skin sores that put Job in excruciating agony and make Job pretty much want to die. But through it all, we see that Job keeps faith in the wait. In the end, God restores Job's health and grants him with twice as much property as before, new children, and an unheard of remarkably long life. All of this because of Job's faithfulness in the wait. I take from this that waiting is hard. Waiting was hard for me. Waiting was hard for Job. Waiting is still hard. Trusting God's timing is hard. It is not meant to be an easy task. But what is incredible is that we can have hope because God always blesses those who wait on him. So today, I encourage you to be still, to wait. And as you wait, remain faithful. And while you wait, be intentional. Come to full-time devotion and service to God as you wait. Dig into his word for clarity. He's given us such an incredible resource on this earth, and to read into his word is going to provide us with so much wisdom and hope and peace during this time of wait. Waiting is one of the hardest things for us humans to do naturally. It's just hard. But what God has in store for us, and this is so cool, and this is the key aspect right here, is that when we wait for God, what's on the other side and what he has in store for us is always, always going to be more than we could have ever imagined.